friends. Okay, today I want to share with you the top 10 productivity myths that I see a lot in the business world. All right. So let me know in the comments if any of these ring a bell for you, if you've believed these myths before, or if there are other myths that you have subscribed to in the past that you're curious if they are true or not. So, to begin, the top 10 productivity myths. Productivity myth number 1: business planning is boring. Have you believed this before? Have you thought that business planning is really boring? Because it really doesn't have to be. One of the big reasons why business planning is so boring for a lot of people is because they feel like they need to put themselves into a particular box and subscribe to a particular method of business planning, that it needs to be like super jargon heavy and that kind of thing. And you'll notice with a lot of these productivity myths, and if you've done any trainings with me before, that a lot of this does relate to that entire concept of putting ourselves in a particular box that we don't actually want to be in. All right, so this is a really big one. Business planning is something that you can actually have a lot of fun with. Business planning can actually be really sexy, and it really comes down to identifying, okay, what can I do to make this more fun? What can I do to have a lot more enjoyment with it? So things like mind mapping your business plan can be really great. Even just figuring out ways to have fun with it beyond using a bunch of industry jargon. Like if that doesn't appeal to you, if that doesn't resonate with you, then don't create a business plan around that. I personally love doing like a numbered system for my business plan, and like I don't mind getting like really in the weeds with it and being like really technical with it, but that is what makes my heart happy. That's what like gets me really excited and everything. So that's like my form of business planning being sexy, right? But it's really about figuring out what feels good for you. And if you want help with learning how to make business planning less boring, I do have a free training on this at saganmorrow.com/retreat. The link is in my bio, I'm pretty sure. And that's a workshop on how to actually create your own solo business planning retreat and to have fun with business planning. So that is productivity myth number 1, that business planning is boring. It really doesn't need to be. All right. If you find business planning boring, then you are doing it wrong. All right. Productivity myth number 2: solopreneurs cannot be truly productive. I see this one so often where people are like, oh, you need to have a team. You have to have a team. You have to get, like, once you have been in business for X number of years, or once you're making X amount of money a month or a year, then you absolutely need to hire a team or you won't be able to be productive. And this could not be further from the truth. Outsourcing things can be great, delegating things can be great, all of that kind of thing. Automating is really wonderful, but you as a sole proprietor, as a freelancer, as any kind of solopreneur, you can still be productive even on your own. It's really about, as I'm always talking about, ensuring that you are doing things in a way that really fits with your learning style, with your productivity style, with your personality, all of these different components, ensuring that you are organizing everything in your business really strategically and structuring your business in a really, really great way for how your brain works. This is one of the things that I love helping my clients with as well. When we do one-on-one sessions together, I can help you completely structure your entire business into different departments, into subdivisions, even as a solopreneur. And we can even work together to do performance reviews for each department in your business. We can have a lot of fun with that. So if you want to do that together, then visit the link in my bio, saganmorrow.com/workwithme, and we can do some one-on-one sessions together to structure your business really, really awesome so that you as a solopreneur can be truly productive. All right, productivity myth number 3: I need fancy software to be productive. Oh, this is a big one too. So people often think, oh, like a paper and pen situation is like, that's not professional. I can't be truly productive if I do that. I can't have lists on paper or in notebooks. Like that's not productive. And therefore I need to use Trello or Asana or some other kind of software. And I think that this is something that can really hinder us if that is not how your brain works. If you are more of that sort of analog type of person, then doing things on the computer is going to make it really difficult for you because your brain will not be able to process it, right? So you're going to have a lot of struggles with it. You're not going to be able to really retain the types of things that you're supposed to be doing in your business if your to-do list is online and that's not how your brain works. So it's really important to, again, take into consideration your learning style, your productivity style, and really thinking about what makes sense for you. How do you enjoy processing things? If that includes color-coded sticky notes on poster paper, the way that you know that I have done it, then do that, right? Just because it doesn't seem like the sexy new thing, just because you don't think that, oh, this isn't professional enough, no, screw that, right? It's really about doing what works for you and your business. You do not need fancy software in order to be productive. And hello, everyone. Welcome to the live. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments about these productivity myths. Okay, so that was productivity myth number 3. So moving along to productivity myth number 4, if I take a day off work, that automatically means I'm being unproductive. Ooh, this is a big one. So oftentimes people tend to feel guilty about taking a break from work, whether that's a half day or a weekend or just like a day off in the middle of the week. And this is really problematic because rest and self-care is really the foundation of healthy productivity. So if you actually want to be productive, then taking a day off work when you need it is a good thing. That is going to support your productivity. That is going to make you more productive. And also, you don't need to take a day off work as a way to be productive. You as a human being are deserving of a day off work regardless of how much work you're able to do later on as a result, right? So really making sure that you are taking the time off that you need and being kind to yourself and really listening a lot to your body and your brain as to seeing, okay, you know what, it's time for me to take a break. I really need to take a break. Some of the best work, the best ideas that I have had in my business from a creative standpoint, from a strategic standpoint, from all of these different perspectives have come to me because I took time off work. I get some of my best ideas when I am on vacation from my work. And as you might already know, right now I'm on a 15-6 schedule where I work 15 days in a row, technically, and then I take 6 days off. That doesn't necessarily mean that I do actually work 15 days in a row straight. Sometimes I'll take a couple of days off in the middle. But it's really interesting because during those 6 days off, I'll often end up emailing myself partway through with some awesome new idea that I've come up with in my business. Not because I've been thinking about my business, but the idea just came to me. So taking a break can be one of the most productive things that you do. All right, so that was productivity myth number 4. Moving along to productivity myth number 5. The best way to improve productivity is to work harder and hustle more. Here's the problem with this one. Oftentimes we end up glorifying being busy and we get into a toxic productivity state. And as you know, if you have done any trainings with me before, when it gets to the point of toxic productivity, then it's no longer healthy. And therefore it is no longer truly productive because true productivity is healthy. True productivity is good for us. So when it gets to the point of toxic, then it's no longer being productive. So if you are in the standpoint where you feel like you just need to keep on working harder and hustling more, then in reality, what you're probably doing is just grinding and being busy with things that aren't actually contributing to your longer term goals, to your bigger goals that you want. So this is about really being very strategic and very mindful of the different tasks that we are working on in our business to ensure that rather than just working for the sake of working, we're actually being healthy with our work. And we're actually doing good things with it and working on the right things rather than just, again, working for the sake of working. Why would you do that, right? You can do way better things with your time than just work for the sake of working. Please do not do that. And again, this is something else. All of these things are really things that we can work together on in a one-on-one capacity. So if you want help with any of these different things, I would be delighted to support you in that. And you can learn more about my one-on-one productivity coaching containers at saganmorrow.com/workwithme. The link is in my bio. All right, so that was, what was that, number 5? Productivity myth number 6, as long as I use X productivity technique, eat the frog, Pomodoro technique, time blocking, whatever it happens to be, as long as I do this, I will be able to improve productivity. Right? Have you believed this one? I bet that some productivity guru out there, some probably dude bro marketing guy, has told you that if you use this one time management technique, then you'll be fine. And if you're not using this particular technique that they love to use, then you can't possibly be productive. No, don't believe them, because they are not taking you and your unique business and your unique lifestyle and your learning style and how your brain processes information into account. They are not thinking about any of that. And all of that is super, super important. So rather than focusing on a particular productivity technique or time management strategy, what I really want you to do is explore the best options for your unique situation. I really want you to consider, okay, what feels good for me, what resonates for me, and experiment and expand from there. And again, this is something that we can absolutely work together on. I love helping you identify the perfect time management techniques for your unique and beautiful brain. So we can always work together on that as well. saganmorrow.com/workwithme. All right. Productivity myth number 7, are we on? I think we're on number 7. There is a limit to how productive I can be. Ooh, I really love this one too, because I think we often, one of the things that I hear from people is they say, oh, I've already like improved my productivity and my time management skills. So, I think I already know this stuff. And honestly, you don't. You just don't. I'm a productivity strategist. I have been in business for over 10 years, and I have been teaching about productivity for quite a while now. I've been working with solopreneurs for the past 5 or 6 years, and I am still learning new things constantly. I am still improving my productivity on pretty much a daily basis. So we really want to be in that state of being willing and open to learning more, to improve our productivity and expand it in all different ways. Because the limit does not exist, okay? The productivity limit does not exist. You can always be more productive, and I think that is the most beautiful thing ever. So one really good example of this is my client Alicia, who came to me a year ago, and her whole thing, she came to me and she was like, I've got some really good time management techniques. She was like, I've got some great time management things in my tool belt, but I feel like there's maybe a few things that I can improve on. And within 3 weeks or a month, she was already saving 10 hours a week. And she came to me already having a pretty good handle on time management and productivity. And this is just such a beautiful example of what you can do as well to improve your productivity, and how even though we think that we know a certain amount, that's probably just a good indicator that there's actually that much more that we can keep on learning. And for her, she said just a couple of months ago, she posted on Twitter about how this productivity program working with me was one of the best things that she's done for her business. So she has continued to save 10 hours every single week ever since. So that's been like 500 hours of time, right? 10 hours a week over the course of a year. That's a lot of time that you can save by improving your productivity. So that's pretty cool. I really, really love that. All right. Productivity myth number 8. Yes, we're on number 8. Being a perfectionist will make my work better. Have you believed this one? Have you believed it? This is something that I also hear a lot from a lot of different business owners and solopreneurs. They say, oh, I'm like such a perfectionist. And as you know, I did a live on this. Was it earlier this week, I think, on the number 1 mistake that perfectionists make. So you should go and watch that one as well if you have not seen that. But this is a big thing where a lot of people tend to think, oh, I'm a perfectionist, therefore that's a really good thing because that like means that my work is always like the cream of the crop. But really, when you focus on being a perfectionist, when you wear perfectionism as a badge of honor, what that ends up doing is it really holds you back from getting to a state of actually completing things, of putting yourself out there, of being visible, and it ensures that you are not actually getting to the point of good enough, because you're so concerned about getting things to the point of perfection that you're really doing yourself this huge disservice. So I want you to step out of the perfectionism zone, and I know that that is so much easier said than done, especially if you have identified as a perfectionist for a really long time, or if you have felt like perfectionism is just, like a part of who you are. It's really difficult. Like it's easy enough to say, stop being a perfectionist. It's a whole other thing to actually get to the root of your perfectionism and deal with it and start working around it. So again, this is something that we can work together on when you work with me in those one-on-one coaching containers, saganmorrow.com/work with me. Link is in my bio. We can absolutely work together on this and really get to the root of your perfectionism and ensure that we use it as a strength, right? So we can use it to work, that you can work with, rather than something that is holding you back, because right now it's probably stopping you from taking action on a lot of ideas, it's probably stopping you from being visible, and it's probably really hindering you a lot in your business. Okay, so productivity myth number 9, we're almost finished for today. Productivity myth number 9, procrastination is always bad. I also did a live on this recently, so you can go back and see that one as well. That live is called Why Procrastination Does Not Need to Be a Death Sentence in Your Business. And oftentimes, this is something else I see a lot in the solopreneur world, in the business industry, where people will say, oh, I feel so guilty, like I was procrastinating today, or like procrastiplanning, and like I'm such a procrastinator. And again, people use this sort of moniker as an excuse in their business, and it really becomes very disempowering because we put this label on ourselves, and then we feel like this is just who I am, and therefore I can't change it. And that is not true. If you identify as a procrastinator, you can still do something about it. Personally, I have been a procrastinator for a lot of my life. There's a lot of different things that I procrastinate on, but I can really use it to my advantage. And there's a lot of different ways that we can ensure that we use procrastination as information. All right, so this is one of the things that I was talking about in that live that I did. So again, go back and watch that if you haven't already. But I love to use procrastination as information, because when we are procrastinating on something, we can take advantage of it and go, okay, why am I procrastinating on this rather than that other thing? And why now, right? Like, what exactly is going on here? It's telling us something. It is a symptom of something deeper that we need to work on. So in that way, procrastination can actually be useful for us. All right, productivity myth number 10, our final one for today. I need to wake up at 5 a.m. or work every weekend in order to maximize productivity. No. Again, this is one of those dude bro marketer type of things you'll see a lot of those dude bro productivity gurus will talk about this, and they'll be like, you need to wake up at 5 a.m. And no, that is not true. Waking up at 5 a.m. is not going to work, again, for everyone's brain, everyone's learning style, everyone's productivity style. If you are not a morning person, then that is not probably going to work very well for you. You're not going to be able to do your best work at 5 a.m. So why would you force yourself to start your workday at that time? That makes zero sense. I have worked with different clients who, some of them are total night owls. And so we actually ensure that their business is structured in such a way that they can work when they are their most creative and their most energized, because that makes the most sense, right? So I really want to ensure that you understand that you don't need to wake up at a certain time of day. You don't need to adhere to a certain type of schedule in order to be productive. The 15-6 schedule that I mentioned earlier that I'm on, that works really well for my brain at this season of my life and this season of my business. That probably will not always work really well for me, and just because it works really well for me does not mean that it will necessarily work really well for you. But we also really want to, again, sort of assess how we are doing things. Why do I feel like I need to do this versus that? Why do we feel like we need to work Monday to Friday and take 2 days off in a row, right? And then work Monday to Friday again, 9 to 5. Why do we do that? It's normalized in our society, but that does not mean that that is the best thing for how your brain works and for how you process information. So rather than working these types of schedules just because that's what society dictates to us or that's how it's always been done, that does not mean that you need to do it. So this is something that I would love for you to do this week, really analyze what are some of the things that I am doing in my business just because that's the way that it is, and what can I do differently, right? What would actually make a little bit more sense for how I do things? I encourage you to do that. That is your homework this week. Come back and share in the comments what comes up for you and what you change and how that affects you, because I would love to know. All right. Again, we can work together on all of these things, all of these different productivity myths, all of these different obstacles that are holding you back from being your most productive self. We can work together in a one-on-one coaching capacity. I have multiple options based on your unique situation, your unique lifestyle, your unique business, and I would love to work with you. So you can check out all those options at saganmorrow.com/workwithme. Link is in my bio. And as always, you can just DM me directly if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them as well. Okay, so that's a wrap for today's live. And thank you so much for joining me. If you have any other questions about productivity, drop them below, and I'm happy to chat further. All right,